We often see motivation as this kind of whimsical thing, something that appears out of thin air or is bestowed upon us by the gods of productivity when they feel like it. But in reality, motivation is something we have to forge for ourselves. It's a product of our thoughts, our beliefs, and our behaviors. And if we want more of it, we have to go after it. I think Naval Ravikant said it best. He said the only easy day was yesterday. This quote is not about procrastination. You can't always put off our work until tomorrow, because sometimes things need to be done today. But there is an important lesson here that we can learn from these words. You see, when we look at any task, we naturally look at how much effort will it take, how difficult it will be, and how challenging it would be to complete the task. That's what makes it hard. But what if instead of looking at the difficulty of the task, we looked at the benefit of not doing the task? What if we imagined the negative consequences of not doing the thing we are procrastinating on? Let me give you an example. Let's say you don't like your job, you're unhappy with your work, and you want to quit. In the back of your mind, you know that quitting your job would cause short-term pain. It will mean less money coming into your account every month. It will mean that you have to find another source of income. But let's look at the cost of not quitting. Let's imagine the negative consequences of not taking this leap of faith. If you stay at this job that you hate, what kind of toll will it take on your mental health? How many more years will you lose to unhappiness? How many more days will you spend feeling trapped and unfulfilled? How many more memories will you make where you wake up dreading the day ahead? When you look at it from this perspective, quitting seems less scary, and staying at a job you hate seems a lot scarier. Let's take a different example. Let's say you're in a toxic relationship, one where you're constantly belittled, manipulated and taken for granted, but you just can't seem to leave. Why? Because you're afraid of being alone. Let's flip this around. What will happen if you stay in this relationship? You will continue to be unhappy. Your mental health will deteriorate further. Your self-esteem will take an even bigger hit, and you will continue to feel unloved and unwanted. Now, being single may not be easy, but when you compare it to the alternative, it starts to look a lot better. Now, this trick of imagining the negative consequences of an action is made easier when we remember that the only easy day was yesterday. Every time you procrastinate, you add another layer of difficulty to the task at hand. Imagine you have to write a 2,000-word assignment, and you keep putting it off. You tell yourself, "Oh, I can do it later. I have plenty of time." So you end up writing it in one sitting. How difficult do you think that will be? Pretty hard? But what if you had broken down that work into smaller chunks? What if you had written 200 words every day? Would that have been easier or harder? Exactly. Here's the thing. Life is full of tasks that need to be done. Some big and some small, some urgent and some not so urgent. If we wait for the perfect moment to do the uncomfortable things in life, we'll never do them. But if we remember that every task becomes easier when we do it today than we do tomorrow, we might be more likely to get things done. Think about it. Every day that you delay your work, it only compounds the problem. For example, let's say you've been meaning to fix a leaky faucet in your house. Keep telling yourself, "Oh, I'll fix it later." But as the days go by, that small drip becomes a constant, annoying sound. It starts to make you crazy. Not only that, but that small leak has now caused water damage to the walls and the floorboards. A simple task that should have taken 30 minutes has now turned into a major renovation project. Or let's say you've been meaning to clean out your garage, but you keep putting it off. One day it's full of clutter and a mess, but you tell yourself, "I'll clean it out later." But as the weeks go by, the mess starts to get worse and worse. It starts to make your neighbors comment about how disgusting your yard looks. What was once a simple chore has now become a major embarrassment. But it's not just our tasks that become harder when we procrastinate. Our problems also become more difficult to solve. When we delay dealing with our issues, they tend to snowball and become bigger problems. For example, let's say you've been meaning to talk to your partner about your feelings, but you keep putting it off. You tell yourself, "Oh, I'll talk to them later." But as the days go by, your feelings become more intense and more overwhelming. What was once a simple conversation has now turned into a major fight. Or let's say you've been meaning to ask for a raise at work, but you keep putting it off. You tell yourself, "Oh, I'll ask for a raise later." But as the months go by, your responsibilities at work increase and your pay stays the same. What was once a simple negotiation has now turned into a major decision. But it's not all bad news. Just like our tasks and problems become more difficult when we procrastinate, they also become easier when we deal with them right away. When we take care of our problems as soon as possible, they tend to go away quickly and easily. For example, let's say you've been meaning to fix a leaky faucet in your house. You finally get around to it, and you're able to fix it in just a few minutes. You're glad that you took care of the problem as soon as it arose, because now you don't have to deal with the constant dripping sound or the water damage to your walls and floorboards. Let's say you've been meaning to clean out your garage, but you finally get around to it, and you're able to clear out all the clutter in just a few hours. You're glad that you took care of the problem as soon as it arose, because now you don't have to deal with the mess or the embarrassment of having such a messy garage. The truth is that most things in life are not as difficult as we make them out to be. Most of the time, our problems and our tasks become more difficult because we procrastinate and make them harder than they need to be. But if we can remember that the only easy day was yesterday, we'll be more likely to take care of our problems as soon as they arise and avoid making them bigger problems than they need to be. If you like this video, check out some other videos here. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.